Shai, you guys wrapped up the number one seed and had a great 57 win year. What's kind of been the message and the mindset since then as you prepare for this next chapter?
It's a new season. Our regular season was good. It's in the past. It's not going to help us these next 16 wins we try to get. It's a new season. It's like a whole new ball game. We got to be ready.
And then, you guys have an opportunity to be here for a few days. You had a couple days to rest your bodies, be in the one seed, being here at home. What's this week like for you guys to be able to kind of get ready and prepare?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously trying to stay conditioned through it and stay in our rhythm, but getting rest, kind of finding the balance in that. But I think it's been beneficial so far. It's been good for us.
It's a unique position you guys are in, but tomorrow night you watch a game where you play the winner. Will it be different kind of watching that game?
A little bit. Kind of the same situation as last year in playing. We were like watching a Laker-Minnesota game to see who we play. Then you have to kind of turn around and scout really fast and figure it out. But yeah, we've played both teams multiple times this year. I don't think either of them has made too many changes to their roster. We kind of know what they present and their challenges.
Shai, Mark has been proving himself as a great coach. He hadn't coached in the playoffs. What do you expect of him in the playoffs in terms of coaching and the way the game is different in the playoffs?
To be the exact same person he is, I don't think he'll change. I don't expect him to change. I don't think he should change. I think he should continue to hold us to a high standard and trust his instincts throughout the game.
You've been with Mark ever since he started his NBA head coaching journey. What's it like to see him be rewarded by his peers as Coach of the Year?
Yeah, it's super cool. He puts in a lot of work. Super humble guy. Obviously very deserving. He got to this point for a reason, and I've kind of been blessed to kind of see his journey. So it's cool.
It's easy for us from the outside looking in to see his accomplishments and so on, and he's getting, honored and respected. But from the inside, what do you see that makes him a great coach?
He's annoying.
How so?
Always nagging. But for real, the best thing about him is that no matter who you are, he has a standard. And it doesn't matter if you've been here 5 years, if you're the best player on the team, if you're the worst player on the team, if you just got here last week, there's a standard and you got to play to it and live up to it on and off the court. And I think that's what's allowed our culture to be what it is as a group, and it starts with him.
Shai, we've heard other guys' stories of just them meeting him for the first time. Do you remember your first interaction with him?
I don't. I know he was on the staff my first year here, but honestly, I don't remember talking to him much. I don't know why. I think the staff was a little bit different back then. Mm-hmm. I don't really remember my first encounter with him at all.
Do you remember at all what he was like back then?
I don't really know until he coached me, really. I didn't have too many encounters. We never really sat down and talked that year, my first year here. So I have it's a blank up until he coached me, really.
So with that, when he started coaching as the head coach, was it a surprise, just his approach, the way he came off, everything like that?
I don't know. I think that early in my career, we were obviously rebuilding. That was the first year to rebuild. We all knew it. And that was a first time experience for me. So I think I was just I wasn't even thinking about anything like that. I was just trying to navigate the whole situation and figure it out. Now, as we both went through the situation for our first time, we obviously built a really good relationship and kind of are in cahoots and on the same flow now. But yeah, personally back then, I don't even know what I was thinking back then. It was a whirlwind.
Shai, you've gone through a lot of experiences with the fans here. You've had game winners in Paycom. You've had tough games, whatever. How much are you looking forward to, and what are you looking forward to about having home playoff games here in OKC?
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. Like you said, they were great when we won 20 games in a season. They were great when we had 57 wins in a season, when we win by 20, when we lose by 20. They're always behind us, always rallying. I've never been booed here. So yeah, they've been great. They deserve it just as much as we do.
Have you thought about the season that organizations having? Blue wins the G League, you're up for MVP, Chet Rookie of the Year, Mark's Coach of the Year, being #1 seed. It's a pretty good run for the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look up now and it's like we're doing something right for sure. But I think it's been our approach every day, and kind of the culture that's been built through Sam and Coach. They do a really good job of making sure that we have our heads on straight. We come to work every day. They make it easy for us to work every day. And that's all they really want us and have us worrying about. And then because of that, you look up after 8 months and you get some things done.
Shai, this will be the first year where you've been the guy on a playoff team. Obviously, your rookie season with the Clippers, that first season with the Thunder. But now leading this team, are you kind of excited personally just to see how your game translates to the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm excited just solely for like the fact that we're one step closer to our goal, which is winning a championship. You have to make the playoffs before you get there. Then you have to win 4 series. But yeah, just being a step closer. Not only myself, but seeing where us as an organization stands in a playoff series against whoever it may be, and seeing how good we really are 7 times, 4 times, however many times it is against one superior team.
And assuming you grew up kind of, seeing the KD and Russ Thunder in the playoffs in that first iteration, do you ever think about this being kind of the second version of that and being on the cusp of something like they were maybe a decade or so ago?
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think about them at all. They have obviously done amazing things with this game, and have done amazing things for this city. Pioneers, clearly. But I think like trying to compare or trying to like draw comparisons, well, it doesn't help us or do anything for myself and us as a group. It's Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Dabo Sabalosha, Serge Ibaka, none of them are on this basketball team. And none of them can help us no matter like how great of things they did in the past. So like for me personally, I haven't like worried or thought about it at all.
Shai, have you felt or heard any of the outside narrative about you guys being a vulnerable #1 seed or maybe some
too
teams
young,
lining
right?
up? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that all year. It's not going to change. We're still young. We'll probably be young for another 4 or 5 years. We don't worry about it. We focus on what goes on in these 4 walls.
Shai, following up on Nick's question from earlier about your excitement playing for the home fans, how much is that just added because you guys were robbed of that your first year here with the pandemic, and then both your other postseason games last year were on the road?
I didn't think about that. It's cool. Wow, I didn't realize I never played a playoff game in front of the crowd. Yeah. Now I'm a little more excited because you pointed that out. But yeah, it'll be super fun. The energy in the arena feels amazing when it's game 13 of the season, so I can only imagine when it's a playoff game. And yeah, super excited.
Mark talks a lot about stacking days, and I'm sure you guys hear that too. And it sounds like a developmental thing. But last week he was talking about how he really feels like that strategy will bode well for you guys in the playoffs. That it is moment by moment. What's your sense of just how that translates now that it is, it's about results in the playoffs?
Yeah, I believe like that mindset and that like approach to things is how you achieve what you want and achieve greatness. It'll be for us on game 9 of the season coming down the stretch against whoever we played against. It'll be game 1 of our series. It'll be game 7 of a series if we go that far. It'll be my brother as he's going through school and studying to get A in his class. I think if you're trying to achieve what you want to achieve and you plug away at it every day, that's how you get to where you want to be. So that's just something that I believe fits in every aspect of life and for sure fits in what we're trying to do here.
Named Coach of the Year by his peers, and just want to get your reaction on seeing the other coaches around the league tab him as the guy that they thought did the best job this year.
Yeah, super excited for him. I don't know if it was really like a shock for me just because of kind of what we're doing and how vital of a role he's had. But I think it's always good to kind of have that validated, especially by like your peers and people you're competing against. So really happy for him and well deserved for sure.
It's been such a sprint the last 6 months. What's the last 72 hours been like for you guys to get some rest and then get back to work here today?
It's been good. We had 2 days where we could really just kind of take everything in and settle down, take care of our bodies, and then today we were going at it. So it's been fun. It's a really fun process to be able to go through this for the first time and kind of understand what's at stake, but also, we kind of are the same, joking around and having fun competing against each other. So I would say we're still sprinting, but it's fun.
Jalen, for whatever this is worth, it feels like there's less of a consensus on Mark's case for the the actual voted on award by media or whoever than there is among coaches. Why do you think there is?
What do you mean?
There seems to be less of a consensus among the media voters than the coaches who voted on the award you're talking about. Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I don't really pay attention to a lot of that, but I think the biggest thing is if the coaches see it, those are the people that, we refer to as, just guys being in the war room, guys that kind of understand, the situation that Mark is in. So I think to have it to the coaches, I think in my opinion, means probably a little more, but I don't know. I feel like that's probably more of a Mark question. But yeah, I think the media is going to, a lot of the media too, is they're going to vote for their favorite team's coach, probably as they should. So I'll probably just leave it at that.
But even the coaches are looking from the outside, looking in. You're on the inside. From your perspective, why should he be the coach of the year?
He's coaching the second youngest team in the NBA to the 1 seed. It's probably my biggest thing.
Okay, but specifically in terms of how he coaches, because we can look at all the accomplishments and things, but just what he does as a coach, that's different.
Yeah.
What does he do as a coach that makes him great?
I think his biggest trait that serves us really well is just being able to relate with us. I think anytime you can relate to the people you're teaching, you're able to get a lot further with progress. It makes us willing to listen, and I think he also loves the game. So, and we can sense that just on how he's kind of his approach and how much film and statistics and analytics that he goes through on a daily basis to kind of give us prep for each game. I think when you can see that as a player, I think that makes us want to play hard for him. He's able to relate to us.
What's this week like for you guys, like waiting for your playoff opponent? Like, are you watching the games last night? Are you tuning in on Friday? What does that look like for you guys?
We were all at Chet's house watching the game yesterday. I think we just kind of use it as a time to just be around each other, and I don't think we're too concerned about who ends up where and kind of do that whole thing. We'll just get ready when that moment comes. But I think a lot of it now is just kind of being a fan of the game, for me at least. It's fun to be able to watch other teams compete and play at a high level. So I've been more of a fan as far as just watching and kind of being eager to play.
Jalen, I don't know how much outside noise you hear, but it seems like there's a narrative that every team is lining up to play you guys, even though you're the number 1 seed. Have you felt that?
Nope, not concerned with what's going on outside of this building for real. So we'll be ready for wherever we play.
I anxious you just to get ready for the playoff, because to play in an actual game, you grew up watching it. You talk about watching the Thunder back in the day. Now you're getting ready to be involved in something like this.
It's really cool. I think I see myself in a commercial yesterday. Just kind of just doing that whole thing has been a really cool experience. Like I said, we've had the off days to really kind of just be a fan and watch. So it's definitely a privilege. And like you said, I think growing up watching the younger Thunder teams and now being able to be a part of this, I think is really cool. Something that nobody I think takes for granted, and something I'm just kind of taking in and relishing in.
Jalen, what do you remember of those previous contending Thunder teams? What do you have memories of those guys?
Yeah, I think just how competitive each game was, and I think the maturity level for how young a team was to be able to kind of compete at that high level year in and year out. So obviously, it was really loud in the arena that we were in. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But I think just the maturity level that they had to constantly be successful.
Was that early in the KD Russ time?
Yeah, like 2012, I think was really the height of it. But I think the couple years before that too were high level.
And you went to a playoff game of theirs?
No.
Okay.
But I grew up a Laker fan, so that series with the Lakers really sticks out. But I think just remembering that, and I think just how much they competed as a group to be that young, I think was really special.
We always hear how the playoffs are different. The intensity, the strategy, the travel, everything's different. It's also different for coaches, game planning game after game with the same opponent. How do you think Mark will do in that scenario?
Good. I'm looking forward to what he has to bring to the table. I think the biggest thing too is he has a great staff with him as well, and they do a good job scouting for teams and making adjustments. I also think us as players have done a really good job this year of voicing some stuff that we'd rather do in certain situations. They're willing to listen and kind of adhere to some of the stuff we have to say too. So it's been a good back and forth and good player-coach relationship throughout the whole year. So it's not just going to be one person doing the whole scouting, but Mark's really smart. He understands basketball. Like I said before, he understands us and what we like to do. So just kind of looking forward to the whole playoff process of playing the same team over and again and trying to find different ways to win.
With us, he's a tremendous communicator. Is he the same with you guys?
Yeah, for
Is that
sure.
a strength of his?
For sure. I think to be a leader, you have to be able to communicate to the people you're talking to. So he does a good job at kind of voicing stuff that he likes, and he'll probably tell you that he has ways to grow in that area. But he does a good job just letting us know.
We're well aware of, Marcus talked about you guys kind of dictating some of the times you want to double. In a matchup like with KD, you just mentioned them having open ears to some of the other things you'd be willing to do. Like, what are some of those other things?
Yeah, I mean, it's just different coverages or certain roles that I think defensively guys want to play in or where guys are more comfortable in. I think every player has different spots where they're comfortable, and I think being able to voice that to coaches and them to be able to find you a position to be in is really, really critical. So I think it's just really just a matter of, different situational stuff and schemes.
How much of those conversations have featured you just in terms of where you want to defend on the floor?
I feel like I'm kind of a wild card because I don't really care where I'm at on the floor. I think my biggest thing is just the more positions you can guard, the longer you can stay on the court. But I think in terms of when me and him have the talk, it's more about it's just more about different schemes and what we'd rather do with certain players. Whether we want to blitz or double or where we want to pick up. When he's dribbling, just different stuff like that. Schemes, a lot of situational stuff in regards to me. I don't really want to speak for everybody else because I don't know what their conversations are like, but that really entails me.
Take 4 or 5 more questions.
Jalen, you were able to give a message to the fans the other night. Just, I don't know, tell me about the relationship you've continued to have with the fans and just what the building's been like, your anticipation for what it's going to be like.
It's a really cool bond that I'm kind of growing with the fan base, something that I want to keep going through and, creating. But it's fun interacting with them. It's super loud all the time, and they're rambunctious fans, so it's cool to kind of be in there and kind of feel their energy and play off of that. So, and obviously, being the 1 seed, we get home court, so definitely flex that to our advantage and just kind of be ready to play for them.
We saw that the Blue was here, getting a chance to hang out with them a little bit. What's it been like for you guys as a group, witnessing kind of their success over these last few weeks?
It's been dope. I think inspiring as well, just because obviously, we want to win too. So I think seeing them do it was really cool, and a lot of those guys have been in here with us playing, so anytime we can watch them, it feels like we're winning too. So it was dope that we got to kind of honor them and bring them into practice. So very special. They go through a lot of travel stuff and getting into different things. So just kind of let them know that's not unnoticed, and they did a really good job out there kind of handling business. So
What's it feel like to be in that locker room after you guys come away with the G League title?
There's no better feeling than winning a championship, especially for Oklahoma organization.
Tell me about you had even different travel than the rest of the guys, but just what it was like for the last 2 weeks with this Blue team, all the different places you had to go and what you guys kind of had to go through just to get there.
Yeah, man, it was a mountain that we had to climb, but we all understood that. And I think we carried the momentum from the regular season and just took it one game at a time all the way to the end.
For people who might not understand or have been following what the Blue do off the floor, just what has led to the success that the Blue has had this season?
I think a lot of it comes from the organization up here as well. They see the camaraderie. They see how we interact with each other on the court and off the court, and they kind of take that same template and take it to the Blue. And credit to the coaching staff and the people down there that can carry the same traits the same work ethic and energy, and it all translates.
What was it like coming back in here today and kind of being received by the Thunder group here?
It was awesome. It was awesome. A lot of smiles, great energy, but we're excited for Sunday and trying to get ready for that game.
Lindy, having grown up here and now being on the inside, does what the Thunder is kind of on the cusp of now with the young team, first seed in the West, does it remind you at all of kind of watching the KD Russ Thunder from when you were growing up?
Yeah, and it's definitely different, like actually being a part of it. But Oklahoma City and Loud City, we're back. I think it's going to be even louder, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
Are there any plans for you guys to watch the Pelicans Kings game together? Or?
Yeah, we'll probably have dinner together. They had dinner last night, and playoff basketball is here, so the intensity is picking up, and you can feel it.
Lindy, just to follow up on what Joe was asking you, now this franchise looks like it's in a very similar place to when Russ, KD, James were young. Like the runway seems long. Have you thought much about you now being a part of a group that little kids in Oklahoma, like you were, are going to be looking at you guys?
Yeah, I think being able to look back at the path and all of the players and people a part of the organization that have their fingertips and fingerprints, you could say, on our success today. I'm just excited for the youth to be able to see this, carry this forward.
Do you remember any specific memories of those Thunder teams from when you were a little kid?
Yeah, all the playoff series. I remember the one play that was so crazy was when Russ got a steal and he got fouled and threw up a shot, and it was an and one. It went in, and I've never heard anything louder. It was insane.
Were you here that night?
Yeah, it was insane. Like, dude, yeah. I can't wait.
What is it when you're a little kid thinking, I want to be a basketball player? What does it mean to have the ability to drive 20 miles from your house and see something like that?
It's a blessing. You can't take it for granted. I'm thankful for my dad for taking me to those games and allowing me to see those guys in high-level competition. So any chance that a young kid can come watch us play and take things from us, it's great.
Have you been able to return the favor, get your dad into a few games?
Yeah.
It was a joke.
Yeah. He's back. He's back. He's excited. Give me tickets. I need tickets. And I want to come to the games. I got him. He'll be there.
Do you still have pinch you moments when you're out there on the floor and warm up to see all the fans? You say you were once those fans and now you're on the court?
Man, I think my first 2 years, yeah. I think now it's more so just taking in and just staying in the moment and not being overwhelmed by the moment. Just being grateful for where I'm at.
With that in mind, like what's been the message and kind of mindset around the team the last 72 hours? You accomplished so much in the regular season, but there's still more to come here.
Yeah, we had a great season. Learned a lot about ourselves and what we're capable of, but that's over, and it's a new season. You can still be beat by anybody, and you can beat anybody. So we're locked in and ready to compete.
You've got to play basketball at every level in Oklahoma. How have you seen the basketball scene here kind of grow in your time?
I mean, it goes back to when I was a kid, and we were lucky enough to host New Orleans whenever the hurricane had happened. And I think seeing how successful that was, and then getting the Supersonics here, and it's just slowly becoming a landmark here in Oklahoma.
You were in the play-in rotation last year, those two games. Did you know you were going to be in the rotation going into those nights? And conversely, do you know what your role will be in this playoff series?
No, I didn't know. I don't expect coach to tell me or anything. I just know that I come prepared, and I'm willing to play the whole game or play 0 minutes. So whatever my team needs me to do, whatever the coaching staff needs me to do, I'll come prepared.
You hear all the time about this being a young team, the inexperience. Maybe that's something that could be a hindrance to you guys. But you hear also Mark talk about you guys being uncommon. Like, what makes you guys so uncommon? This is one of the most competitive Western Conferences that we've seen in a long time, and you guys end up at the top.
You know, a lot of things come from Coach Mark. He has a lot of little sayings, but we joke about them, but we also take them very seriously. So things like solve problems with 5 and 0-0 mindset. I think we have guys that really take those to heart, and we live by those things.
Any whoever you're gonna play, you played them like within the last 10 days, 2 weeks. No Sacramento. Any advantage from that standpoint for either one? Disadvantage?
The opponent doesn't matter at this point. Just focus on what we can do and how great we can be. I think just running our own race, and everything will take care of itself.
Congrats on being named Coach of the Year by your peers. As you kind of have taken that in, what does it mean to you, and what was your reaction?
I'm humbled. I have great respect and admiration to other coaches. Anytime you're recognized by your peers, there's something meaningful about that. It's a little uncomfortable, mainly because of the amount of, when you're in this job, it's a forward-facing job, but you also get a front row seat to all the different people that impact the outcome of the games and the success of the team, which is obviously the reason why I won the award, was the success of the team. It starts with the players, but then all the people in the organization, all the invisible work that gets done, that the team benefits from, and that in this case I get singled out for. So certainly humbled and grateful for the recognition, but at the same time want to make sure that I'm spreading that back out.
Assuming you didn't vote for yourself, who did you vote for?
I'm not going to disclose.
Okay.
But you're not allowed to vote for yourself.
Yeah. But just for you talked about Mike Brown last year when you voted.
I thought that was
for
a pretty
Andy.
obvious one. I thought
Yeah.
this one was a tougher decision, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to let it out.
Coaches, what have the last couple of days been like after the whirlwind of the season and the success of the season, but preparing for the postseason, having a little bit of a rest here?
Yeah, we Monday was totally off. Yesterday was we had a team meeting, but then very light on the floor. So the intent was like 48 hours, really off our feet and not like playing basketball, to just allow everybody to come down from the end of the season, which was fatiguing, I think. And also give people the space to enjoy the end of the regular season. And today was the first practice of playoff prep. And we've now turned the page. It's a new season now. Yeah. So as great as the accomplishments are, not to understate those in any way, we got to get on to today and to our new season.
We saw that the Blue was here today, obviously just won a championship. As someone who spent so much time with the G League, what was it like to see their success this season?
Yeah, that was awesome. And one thing we told them after practice was what they endured from a travel standpoint was crazy. I mean, those guys, they were everywhere, all over the country. And those are like buses, commercial flights, connection flights. There's nothing easy about that generally, and then to stack days like that with the cumulative travel. Oos and Lindy and those guys were playing here, in between because we needed them here. And then for them to like compete the way they did and to compete together the way they did, they were just an unbelievable representation of the organization. Felt incredible pride being associated with that team. We never take for granted how that team plays or the opportunity to compete for a championship, which they did. So they should all be unbelievably proud.
Why don't they play that thing at one spot instead of sending those guys all across the country like that?
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. But the home court's cool. It used to be back in the day, back in my day, it used to be like one, and then the home court advantage, you got games 2 and 3, which was to limit travel. They changed it.
Mark, Sam talks about this being the second mountain, with the first mountain being the KD Russ Harden era. There's obviously a few connective threads, but between those two eras, with Sam being the obvious one at the top, how much you guys kind of discuss that first era and now being a part of this second era
with the team?
Yeah,
very little. I think it's important that we appreciate the history. The players appreciate the history of the organization. We want the players to feel like, we want everybody, we should all feel like we have to live up to a certain standard that was set by early people in the organization. I think we have a lot of people in very key positions doing a lot of, like I said, invisible work that have been here for a long time, that are incredibly competent in navigating this. But it's also important to let this team breathe its own air and chart its own course and write its own story. And we try to give them the space to do that. And obviously the history of the organization is a good motivator for that. But these guys, they own this time, and we try to give them the space to do that.
Mark, you talked about the invisible work of other people that you just maybe happen to take credit for. What's some of the invisible work that you have going on that we would never know about?
A lot of it right now is just planning. It's like it's planning practices to get our habits sharpened, anticipating the things that we're going to need to be really good at regardless of opponent as we head into the playoffs or into a series, finding the things that cross over between the two opponents that we could play, and working on those things, and trying to get the guys came in with unbelievable energy. It was like first day of school energy today because they just had 2 days off. We're obviously excited to play. There's nothing that could deflate that more than a practice that lacks organization or lacks purpose. So that puts a lot of pressure on us to make sure we deliver that. I think we did today. But that's where a lot of the work goes with our coaching staff.
How has your organization changed maybe from your first year?
First year in the G League?
Well, maybe.
Yeah,
Thinking
a
more
ton.
specifically from your first year as a head coach.
Yeah, it becomes you get into rhythms just like any other job. You become more efficient. You develop a philosophy. You get into rhythms that are helpful. And then I think our coaching staff and our performance staff, medical staff, everybody that works together on planning. We've worked together now for a long period of time. Some of these guys I've worked with dating back to the Blues, so the communication streams are really, really good. We beat up ideas. There's very low ego in that process, which I really appreciate. Allows us to get to what we think is the best decisions, whether it's practices, games, team, anything like that.
Mark, does this have a different feel from past playoff series you've been a part of, not knowing who the opponent's going to be, and you have so much time to prepare?
Yeah, this is the week in between is a new thing for us, even organizationally. Even people that have been in a lot of playoff series haven't been in this particular situation where you have this much time without knowledge of an opponent. So it's not a bad thing, though. I think there's one of my concerns when it was looking like we were going to be 3. One of my concerns was over preparing or like being really, really tight. This happens a lot in training camp. Like you're really, really good on like day 1 and 2, and like your team in training camp, if you're not careful, your team peaks in like game or day 4, and then you get worse by the time you play your first game because you just start adding a bunch of stuff and worrying about a bunch of things. The more condensed window forces you to prioritize, keeps the main things. So there's a little bit of a blessing in disguise there too.
The freshness of the first playoff for most of your guys, you mentioned how excited they were today. Is that something that can actually help you in terms of a team that maybe been here, done that before, and it's kind of like routine, so to speak? The fact it is so new to some of you guys that are anxious to get out and the first playoff experience.
Yeah, I think they definitely, their antennas are up right now in terms of attention, but I think it's like the first day of the season. Everybody's excited. Even if you've done it a million times, there's nothing quite like it. And I think that probably happens with the playoffs. And, being around the teams that made playoff runs here, there was always excitement regardless of how experienced the guys were because it's a new challenge. It's a new opportunity. And so I would anticipate every team in the playoffs having the same. I don't think that's any advantage for us, honestly.
Mark, we always often ask you, what's it going to be? What are you guys going to be like in the playoffs? Young, most of them haven't been there. What are they going to be like? What are you going to be like in the playoffs? Do you know? Are you going to be different?
I have no idea. Anything could happen. I think the goal is to set a certain way of operating in the season, both from a tone standpoint with our approach as a coaching staff, as a building, that can carry into the playoffs. And then same thing with all the tactical things that we've done. This during the season when we're moving things around, you guys are asking about it, and a lot of times I've referenced that we want to be a team that's adaptive, and the playoffs are a context that force you to adapt. And so we've tried to force ourselves to be adaptive throughout the regular seasons to build that muscle. And so hopefully, if we've done a good job, there's not much difference between how we're conducting ourselves, how we're behaving, how we're thinking, how we're playing. And the layers that we have to go to hopefully have been sharpened. There's probably going to be a couple that we got to go to that we haven't had to, but I think optimally your toolbox is full by the time you enter the playoffs, and optimally you're behaving and thinking and acting the exact same way as you are in the regular season. If you're not, then I would say you have to reevaluate how you're operating in the regular season. And we'll see. We'll self-evaluate and self-reflect at the end of the playoffs.
Do the new baseball series that you played last year or two, do they help you in the playoffs? Because you got a slice of that, of what you need to do in the playoffs, or not?
No, I think what has been more helpful than that is some of these more elevated games we've played throughout the course of the regular season that either the crowds are more live because of the matchup, or our recent ones, like our game at New York was an elevated game. Our game at home against Sacramento, our most recent one, was an elevated game. Our game at Milwaukee that we lost was an elevated game. Those are the ones that they have a feel about them, that it's a little more physical, there's a little more scheming, the crowd's a little, and it's not quite playoff level, but it's definitely scraping that.
Mark, Joe asked you about legacy of that sort of first iteration of Thunder championship contender team. Now this team with such a young group, that runway looks equally long for them. And I'm thinking about, they were kids. They were actual kids when that first Thunder team rolled along. Now there's going to be actual kids here that are watching them. Curious what you think about just that sort of side of things, the young people that'll grow up with this team. And I assume when you were young, you probably had some guys you looked at as that ultimate.
Yeah. I think it's a powerful perspective. Sam did this great thing with the team. I don't know when it was. It was it might have been a couple weeks ago, where he showed them, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but showed them what it takes for a family to get to a game. Because when you're in the bowels of the arena, you show up, you park your car, you walk 10 feet to the door, everything unfolds for you, for the guys, their pictures getting taken, everything revolves around them, but there's people that are driving from every which direction. They're leaving their, work early. They're paying to park. They're walking from parking. They have to wait to get in. And there is, unbelievable sacrifices being made to do that. And so I hope our team, plays with a great sense of purpose. And the thing that I think we can be proud of as an organization and the team can be proud of is the way that our guys manage themselves on the court, off the court, how they play, how they compete. Because there are young people watching the team, and I think what they're seeing is the right way to compete, the right way to be a part of something, and the right way to doing things with passion. There's things that I think our team has represented to this point that transcend, basketball, and that are a great example in the community.
Martin, your time working with Sam, how much has he influenced your line of thinking, if at all?
Who?
Sam.
Oh yeah, huge. I mean, I was raised in this organization. I wouldn't limit it to him. I'd say organizationally, I was raised by this place. I've never worked in professional basketball until I got here. And so I didn't know what a game felt like with a 24-second shot clock until I got here. I'd never managed a staff before. I had very, very little exposure to analytics and data science and all the resources that we have. I never had this level of access to the vastness of an organization and all the different people that have to hum in order for things to move smoothly. And I was brought up in that environment first with the Blue and with my exposure to the Thunder. Obviously, his fingerprints are all over that, but it's not limited to him. There's a ton of really talented and competent people here that we all benefit from working around.
What have you seen from Shai over the last couple of days?
Shai? I mean, he's like clockwork. It's nothing really different. Same thing. good lightness to him, seriousness when it's time to be serious, putting his work in, great confidence. It's almost like, I noticed this last year going into the postseason. It's like when the noise and the stuff around seems to be just a little bit tighter, he has a great way about him in terms of confidence and looseness, and I think that has a contagious effect with the guys.
Jalen Williams talked about how you're an open-minded coach. You're willing to listen to
Not
feedback.
to him. He's helping to challenge every call. I only got 2, Jalen.
But what he said was that when things are going on in games, et cetera, that you're open-minded. You talked about all the analytics and stuff, but then there's the players on the floor
Yep.
interacting with you. Why are you open to that, and how does that work?
I trust them. I trust. They deserve trust. You can't. There's only so much you can do when you're coaching. They got to make the plays. They got to. I always tell you guys, they win the games. Coaches can't win games. Coaches can lose games, but they can't win them. And so they're the ones that do. They need confidence. They need trust in order to do that. And they give me every reason to trust them. I mean, they're intelligent players. They're about the team. They're competitive. They're trying to solve problems out there on the court. And ultimately, we're in it together. We're all working together to try to get to the best thing. And we don't care where that idea comes from. If it comes from a player, comes from a video assistant, it doesn't matter. We're just trying to get to the best thing and move in the same direction. And if I'm going to expect that from them, I have to be able to walk that walk. It's not about, the decisions I'm making or anything like that.
Mark, as a head coach, have you ever sat down during a game?
No, I'm not actually, I might have tried it right off the bat.
You guys were up 50 the other night and you never sat.
Yeah, and we've been down 50, and I didn't sit. Just for the record.
You're something in the playoffs. You do very
Yeah, I'm just gonna. If I just start sitting there, you'll have something to write about. Honestly, background noise drives me crazy. So when I'm watching film, I listen to music because I can't stand. I watch games on mute when I watch television games, not because I don't care what people are saying, but I just don't like the noise. And when you're over by the bench, it's just there's too much going on for me. So I can't think. So when I go near there, I hear all the stuff, and it's all well intended. I mean, they're yelling at their teammates, but it's a little distracting to me. So a lot of the standing is just to get away from everybody. And Jalen Williams, I got to get away from him.
You need your space. You've made that clear.
I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but people will point out that you squint a lot.
Oh, here we go.
Why,
Yeah.
why is that?
I thought Joe's was the last question. I have the eyesight of a red-tailed hawk. I have great eyes. Great eyes. I can see everything. I think I squint when I'm thinking. It's a habit. It's definitely not an eyesight thing. I can really see. I worked with a guy. This is you'll enjoy this. This will reward you for your dumb question. I worked with a guy named Richard Pitino. I was Rick Pitino's son. He was an assistant at Florida my first year. He's the head coach now at New Mexico. He's one of the funniest people I've ever worked with. He's hysterical, and he always used to make fun of me for squinting. And when I was at Florida, after he left, he had gone to be an assistant at Louisville, and then he was a head coach a bunch of places. And anytime we were on TV, he would be watching our game, and he would take screenshots of the thing, and he would send them to me, and he'd be like, "Why are you squinting?" And the other day, I won the award, and I think I was squinting in one of the pictures that they put out of me. And he took a picture, he sent that to me, and he said, "You're really going to cost the team one of these games if you can't see what the score is." So I've been getting that I'm aware. Layla showed me the dog that somebody had. Yeah. So I'm aware that that's a thing. My eyes are fine. It's just it's a habit. I don't know.
That's why you get all the challenges right again.
Yeah, I don't know. So
you guys are second in challenges. You know that?
Yeah, no, I'm well aware.
What kind of gum do you chew?
Hugs has got me.
Okay.
I don't know. You gotta ask Hugs. He gives me my gum before every game.
Just hand you whatever.
I'm a mint guy though. I'm not fruity gum.
Black coffee or creamer?
Black. Black coffee. All right. Yeah.